incredible morning. It's so peaceful and warm. Spring is 100% the best time of year.
The DJI Air 2S was released back in April of 2021, 2 years ago. Now in terms of tech, that is an absolute lifetime, but this drone is definitely worth considering now, even in 2023. So in this video, we're going to take a look at why you should consider the DJI Air 2S if you are thinking of upgrading, or maybe you're even just looking at getting into flying drones. So I'm going to look at this drone from a photography and videography point of view, because that is what we do here at Northern Powerhouse Media and the Creative Pursuit. A lot of the stuff we do is commercial work, and we shoot a lot of real estate. We shoot presenter tour videos, we shoot photos of houses, and this drone allows us to establish the location and the area of houses really nicely. Before we go any further, let's just get a couple of boring specs out of the way. Things like flight time. This has an average flight time of 31 minutes according to the DJI website. Now, as we all know, we should take that with a pinch of salt because that is in perfect conditions, whereas we're never going to be flying drones in the conditions that they're tested in. It's going to be flown outside in wind, you're going to be flying at different speeds, you're going to be recording videos sometimes, so the flight time is always going to vary. However, we have never had an issue with flight time whatsoever. We tend to get around about 20-25 minutes out of a battery, and that is more than enough for what we do, especially if you have a Fly More combo where you got a couple of spare batteries that come with it. That's over an hour's worth of flight time. You're not going to need that at any point, and it's super quick to recharge them if you need to, and you got your charger with you, so flight time is never an issue with the DJI Air 2S. It has a top speed of 19 meters per second. Now that is genuinely really quite fast, quite scarily fast when you're flying close to the ground as well, but it took me quite a lot of getting used to because the drone I was flying before this was the DJI Mini 2. Now that is still a great drone, I still use it quite a lot in certain situations, but when I go back to it now, it feels incredibly slow. This is super impressive. 19 meters a second isn't just useful for flying quickly to different far out locations, such as a little island in the middle of a lake and you want to shoot a photo of it and get there quickly. You can do that and that's great, but it's also incredibly useful when you're flying in maybe slightly heavier winds than you would like to. You can pop it into sport mode and it is going to be able to cope with some really strong winds, which is super impressive for such a small piece of kit. Now yes, there are smaller drones like the DJI Mini, and there are bigger, more powerful drones like the Mavic 3s, but this is a super impressive middle ground. It is brilliant.
What still gets me, even after several years of flying drones, is just how easy it is to get these things out of your bag and get them up in the air within a matter of seconds. The tech that we've got now is just incredible. Not only that, but the amount of control you have when you're flying these things is insane if you think about it. And as a photographer and videographer, they're so much fun to fly as well because you know you're going to get great results. They're going to help elevate your videos and photos to the next level.
The DJI Air 2S can shoot up to 5.4K video, which sounds impressive, and it is impressive. It looks absolutely stunning, but what makes it even more impressive, how many times can I say the word impressive in one sentence, is the fact that it shoots in 10-bit color. That means that when it comes to color grading your video, you have so much more information in those video clips that allows you to maneuver the colors around to create the style and look that you want for your video. Add to that shooting in D-Log, which is DJI's log color profile, and you have a huge amount of dynamic range to play with as well. Super impressive from a tiny little 1-inch sensor.
With the DJI Air 2S you can shoot up to 120 frames a second in HD or 1080, and that is more than okay if you want to shoot some epic B-roll drone shots of the scenery and location around you. If you wanted to shoot 4K slow motion, you're limited to 60 frames a second, which is still more than okay for slow motion, especially when you're shooting with a drone because you're much further away from your subjects typically. There is, however, a bit of a crop when you're shooting 4K 60, which is a little bit frustrating sometimes, but there's ways around it. And if you don't want the crop, just shoot in HD, because the HD still looks brilliant. HD is still more than acceptable, even though everyone now is shooting 4K and we're starting to see the likes of 6K, 8K, 12K. HD is still more than acceptable when it comes to video quality. A lot of actual cameras tend to have a crop in 4K 60 as well. The Lumix S5 II that I'm using right now to film this also has a crop in 4K 60, which is frustrating. At least you can change the lens on a real camera, so you can shoot a little bit wider. You can't with a drone, you can maybe fly further away, but that's not always possible if you're in an enclosed space. But HD 120 60 is more than okay.
Master shots and all of the built-in flight modes are great, if not slightly cheesy sometimes. I don't really use them that often, but they can be very useful in certain situations, and they allow you to fly the drone and get some great looking footage literally without doing anything at all. It's really clever if that is what you're after, just creating some great looking footage without having to do much. Just if you are using it, make sure you're in a wide enough space with nothing around you, because if it is circling around you, you don't want to let it fly into a tree by itself, because there's no sensors on the side. There's only sensors on the front and the back and the bottom. So if it's doing a circle around you, it doesn't see the tree, you're going to lose your drone. So yeah, master shots is great, just be careful where you use it.
What is really cool is tracking mode. So you can draw a box around your subject, which I've done on my phone. I have drawn a box around me. I'm tracking myself. You might be able to see the drone just here, and it is now tracking me. I'm not flying it at all, it's just following me. No matter where I go, it's just going to follow me all around, which is really cool. This isn't really a situation that you might use it in. However, it's really cool if you want to follow a car or a motorbiker and just create some really cool shots, tracking shots, without having to do anything, because it is doing it all for you.
For photography, it shoots 20 megapixel photos, and it shoots in RAW as well, which I would always recommend shooting your photos in. And there is loads of information packed into those photo files for you to edit them in any way that you like. 20 megapixels might not sound a lot, especially compared to some of today's cameras and even mobile phones with 100 megapixel sensors, but megapixels is a bit of a myth. It doesn't really matter how many megapixels a camera has. There's so many more elements that go into creating a great image than the amount of megapixels. It doesn't necessarily mean more megapixels, better camera. It doesn't work like that. There's also different photo modes built into this drone, such as Panorama Mode, which allows you to point the drone in the general area that you want to take a panorama, stick it into Panorama Mode, and then the drone will take a series of photos, stitch them all together itself, and then you can download it to your phone and share it to your social media almost instantly, which is incredible. However, I do think it is only in JPEG. I might be wrong on that. I've just not found a way to do them in RAW. But if you do want to do them in RAW, you can shoot drone panoramas manually and stitch them together yourself inside Lightroom. So if that's something you want to do, you can learn how to do that manually. But if you just wanted something super quick, stick it into Panorama Mode and it is brilliant. This drone is great. I absolutely love it. It's a lot of fun to fly. It's durable, it's well built. I did actually crash it into a wall once at fairly high speed, and it survived without even breaking a propeller, apart from a tiny little scuff just on this one here, which is super impressive that you can crash it and you know it's going to survive. And it will last you a long time, and you're not going to need to upgrade it, providing you can avoid the temptation of buying new gear, which is not easy. I struggle with that. Probably not a good habit to be in. So that is the DJI Air 2S. We have a lot of fun flying it, a lot of fun using it with our clients pretty much daily. It's not let us down once in the time that we've had it. And yeah, it's brilliant. Just one final very boring point about drones in general, not just this drone, but if you're gonna fly drones or get into flying drones, just make sure you follow your local drone laws and be sensible with it. Don't go flying it around close to people and into buildings that you shouldn't and around airports. Just be sensible with it. But yeah, that's my boring point to finish on. And yeah, let us know what drones you use. Are you getting into flying drones? Let us know what you use in the comments below. Come and say hello. Don't forget to hit subscribe and all of that typical YouTube stuff. And we shall see you in the next video.